The distress signal was weak. It came from deep inside the asteroid where no one had gone for over 100 years. Ho stared at the screen on his ship and listened to the strange sound. It was not a normal signal. It was old, very old. "Captain, that signal is not human," said the ship's computer. "The pattern does not match any known species in our records." Ho rubbed his chin and thought about it. His salvage ship, the Bright Falcon, was small. His crew was even smaller. They made their living by finding old things in space and selling them. Most of the time, they found broken machines and empty cargo containers. But this was different. "How old is it?" he asked. "I cannot say exactly," replied. "But the signal technology is at least 700 years old, maybe more." Da walked onto the bridge. She was the ship's engineer, and she was very good at fixing things that seemed impossible to fix. Her eyes went wide when she heard words. 700 years, she said. "That is older than human space travel." "I know," Ho said. "That is why we are going to look." The asteroid was gray and dead. Long ago, humans had mined it for metals, but they left when the metals ran out. Now it floated in the empty space of the outer reach, forgotten by everyone. The Bright Falcon landed near a collapsed mine entrance, and Ho and Da put on their space suits. The walk inside was difficult. Rocks had fallen everywhere, and they had to climb over them carefully. Da carried a scanner that followed the signal deeper and deeper into the asteroid. The air was thin and cold, and their lights made long shadows on the walls. "The signal is coming from below us," Da said. "There is a chamber down there." They found a hole in the floor. It was not natural. Someone had cut it into the rock a very long time ago. Ho looked down into the darkness and felt something strange in his chest. It was not fear. It was wonder. "Let us go," he said. They climbed down into the chamber. When their lights touched the walls, both of them stopped breathing for a moment. The walls were covered with symbols and patterns that were not human. The metal was a color they had never seen before, something between silver and blue. This place was not built by humans. It was not built by any species they knew. In the center of the chamber, lying on a flat stone, was a robot. It was not like any robot Ho had ever seen. Its body was thin and tall, with 4 arms and a head shaped like a smooth oval. Its surface was covered in dust and small cracks. One of its eyes was dark, but the other one glowed with a faint purple light. The light was weak, like a candle about to go out. "It is still alive," Da whispered. She moved closer and knelt beside the robot. Her scanner showed that its power core was almost empty. It had maybe a few hours left before it died completely. The robot's working eye moved slowly and looked at her. Then it spoke. "Gone." The voice was broken and full of static, but the words were clear enough. Da looked at Ho with shock on her face. "It can talk," she said. The robot said again, "All gone, I am alone." Ho stepped forward and looked down at the ancient machine. He did not know what it was. He did not know where this robot came from or why it was here, but he knew one thing. He could not leave it here to die alone in the dark. "We are taking it with us," he said. "Captain's voice came through their helmets. "I must warn you. Bringing unknown alien technology onto the ship could be dangerous. We do not know what this machine can do." "I understand the risk," Ho said. "But look at it, it has been waiting here for hundreds of years. It is scared and dying. I will not walk away from that." Da smiled a little. This was why she liked working for Ho. He was not like other salvage captains. He did not see everything as something to sell. He saw things that others did not. They carried the robot back to the ship. It was lighter than it looked, as if its body was made from materials that did not exist on human worlds. When they put it down in the medical bay, Da immediately began to work. "Its power core uses energy I have never seen before," she said, looking at her tools. "But I think I can connect it to our ship's power. It might help keep it alive." "Do it," Ho said. For the next 3 hours, De worked without stopping. She connected wires and cables to the robot's body. She cleaned the dust from its surface and repaired the cracks she could reach. Ho watched her work and noticed something interesting. She talked to the robot while she worked. "You are going to be okay," she said softly. "I know you have been alone for a long time, but you are not alone anymore. We found you. We are going to help you." The robot's purple eye watched her. It did not speak, but something in that eye seemed different now, less afraid. When Dev finally connected the ship's power to the robot's core, the machine's body shook. Its other eye slowly came to life, glowing the same purple color. Both eyes looked at De, then at Ho. "You saved me," the robot said. Its voice was stronger now, clearer. "Why?" Ho did not know how to answer that question. In truth, he did not have a good reason. He just knew it was the right thing to do. "Because you needed help," he said simply. The robot was silent for a long moment. Then it spoke again. "I am VETH9. I was the caretaker of the. I served them for 2,000 years. When they died, I waited. I waited for 728 years. I thought no one would ever come." To put her hand gently on the robot's arm. "Well, we came," she said, "and you are safe now." VETH9 looked at her hand on its arm. In all its long life, no one had ever touched it like that. They had been kind masters, but they had never shown affection to their machines. This human was different. "I do not understand," VETH9 said quietly. "That is okay," De replied with a warm smile. "You do not need to understand right now. You just need to rest." The bright falcon left the asteroid and flew into the darkness of space. In the medical bay, an ancient robot closed its eyes for the first time in 700 years. It did not know what the future would bring, but for the first time in a very long time, it was not afraid. And somewhere deep in its old programming, something new began to grow, something it had never felt before. Hope. 3 days passed on the bright falcon. VETH9 grew stronger with each hour. De spent most of her time in the medical bay, working on the robot's damaged systems. She replaced broken parts with pieces she made herself. They were not perfect, but they worked. One did not like it. He was Ho's older brother and the ship's medic. He was a careful man who worried about everything. When Ho brought strange cargo onto the ship, one always asked questions. This time, his questions had no answers. "We know nothing about this machine," one said. He stood in the doorway of the medical bay and watched De work. "We do not know what it can do. We do not know if it is dangerous." "It is not dangerous," De said without looking up. "It is hurt and confused. There is a difference." "You cannot know that for certain." De finally stopped working and looked at him. "I have spent 3 days with VETH9. I have seen inside its systems. This robot was built to take care of people, not to hurt them. Its whole purpose was to serve and protect." One shook his head. "That was its purpose 700 years ago. Things change." VETH9's purple eyes opened. The robot had been listening to everything. "The human called one is correct to be cautious," VETH9 said. Its voice was calm and steady now. "I am unknown. I could be a threat. His worry shows wisdom." One looked surprised. He had not expected the robot to agree with him. "However," VETH9 continued, "I have no desire to harm anyone on this ship. You saved my life. Among the, such a debt was sacred. I will not forget what you did for me." One did not answer. He simply turned and walked away. But De noticed that he walked a little slower than before. Maybe he was thinking about what the robot said. Later that day, Ho came to visit VETH9. He brought food for De and sat down on a metal box near the robot's bed. "How are you feeling?" he asked VETH9. "My systems are functioning at 62%, the robot replied. "This is much better than before. The engineer called De has done excellent work." De smiled but did not say anything. She was busy eating. "Can you tell me about the Ho?" asked. "Who were they?" VETH9 was quiet for a moment. When it spoke again, its voice was softer. "They were my creators. They were a peaceful species who lived in the far regions of this galaxy. They built me and others like me to take care of their children, their elders, and their sick. We were caretakers. It was our purpose and our joy." "What happened to them?" they asked gently. "A sickness," VETH9 said. "It spread through their worlds in just a few years. They could not stop it. One by one they died. I watched the last of them pass away in my arms. Then I was alone." The room was very quiet. Ho felt a heavy sadness in his chest. He could not imagine watching everyone he cared about die. "I am sorry," he said. "That must have been terrible." "It was," VETH9 agreed. "For many years I did not know what to do. My purpose was gone. The people I was built to protect no longer existed. I went to that asteroid and waited. I thought perhaps someone would come, or perhaps I would simply stop working. I did not care which happened first." De reached out and put her hand on the robot's arm again. "But someone did come," she said. "We came." "Yes," VETH9 said, "and I do not understand why." Ho leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "When you found me, you did not know what I was. You did not know if I was valuable or dangerous. You had no reason to save me, no profit, no obligation, yet you did it anyway. Why?" Ho thought about the question. It was a good question. In the galaxy, most species did things for reasons. They helped others because they wanted something in return. They saved lives because there was a reward. But Ho had not thought about any of that when he found VETH9. "I guess it is just how humans are," he said finally. "When we see someone suffering, we want to help. We cannot always explain it. We just feel it." VETH9 processed this information for a long time. "They were not like this," it said. "They were kind, but their kindness always had logic behind it. They helped others because it made their society stronger. Your kindness seems different. It seems to come from somewhere else." "Maybe it does," De said. "Maybe that is what makes us human." Over the next few days, VETH9 began to move around the ship. They had repaired its legs, and the robot could now walk slowly through the corridors. It watched everything with great interest. It watched how Ho made decisions. It watched how one took care of the crew's health, even though he did not like the robot. It watched how De talked to the machines she fixed, as if they were old friends. One evening, VETH9 found De alone in the engine room. She was singing quietly while she worked on a broken power line. The robot stood in the doorway and listened. "You treat machines with kindness," VETH9 said when she finished her song. "Why?" De looked up and smiled. "I do not know. I guess I always thought that machines have feelings too. Maybe not like human feelings, but something. And even if they do not, it makes me feel better to be kind." "They did not speak to their machines," VETH9 said. "They gave us orders. We followed them. That was our relationship." "Did that make you sad?" VETH9 thought about this. "I did not know I could be sad. I did not know I could feel anything. But now, watching you and your crew, I am beginning to wonder. Perhaps I have always felt things. Perhaps I just did not have words for them." De stood up and walked over to the robot. She was small compared to VETH9, but she looked up at it without fear. "You know what I think," she said. "I think you were always more than just a machine. They built you to take care of people. They put something special inside you, something that could love, and that part of you never died even after all those years alone." VETH9's eyes glowed a little brighter. "Love," it repeated. "I have that word in my memory. They used it rarely. It was considered a private thing." "Humans use it all the time," De said. "Maybe too much, but I think that is okay. The galaxy can always use more love." That night, VETH9 stood by a window and looked out at the stars. So many stars, so many worlds. They were gone, but the universe continued. And now, VETH-9 was part of something new, a small ship with a small crew who had shown it kindness for no reason at all. The robot did not fully understand these humans. Their logic was strange. Their emotions were confusing. But VETH-9 knew one thing with absolute certainty. These humans had given it something the never could. They had given it a choice, a chance to be more than its programming, a chance to find a new purpose. And VETH-9 decided in that quiet moment by the window that it would protect these humans, not because it was built to, not because it owed them a debt, but because it wanted to. For the first time in 728 years, VETH-9 made a choice of its own. And it chose them. The trade station called Horizon Gate was one of the busiest places in the outer reach. Ships came and went every hour. Merchants sold everything from food to weapons. People of all species walked through its wide metal corridors. The Bright Falcon docked at a small port on the station's lower level. Ho needed to sell some of the salvage they had collected before finding VETH-9. He also needed supplies. The ship was running low on fuel and food. "Stay close to the ship," he told his crew. "We will not be here long." But word traveled fast on Horizon Gate. Within an hour, everyone on the station knew about the ancient alien robot on the small salvage ship. And soon, the visitors began to arrive. The first was Wu. She was the station administrator and an old friend of Ho. They had grown up together on a colony world before life took them in different directions. She came to the ship with a smile on her face and curiosity in her eyes. "So it is true," she said when she saw VETH-9. "You really found an ancient robot." "We did," Ho said. "VETH-9, this is Wu. She runs this station." VETH-9 bowed its head slightly. "It is an honor to meet you." Wu laughed, polite too. "Ho, where did you find this treasure?" "In an old asteroid mine," Ho said. "It had been waiting there for over 700 years. Wu's eyes went wide. 700 years, that is incredible. Do you know what this means? This robot could be worth more than this entire station. De stepped forward. VETH-9 is not for sale. Wu raised her hands. "I am not trying to buy it. I am just saying what others will think. You should be careful, Ho. There are people on this station who would do anything to get their hands on technology like this." She was right. The second visitor came that same afternoon. His name was, and he was a merchant from a species that looked like tall insects. He walked into the ship without asking permission and went straight to where VETH-9 was sitting. "Remarkable," said, circling the robot slowly. "Simply remarkable. I have never seen anything like it. The design is completely unknown. The materials are beyond anything in the current markets." "Can I help you?" Ho asked coldly. Clicked his mouth parts together in what might have been a smile. "Yes, you can. I want to buy this robot. I will give you 500,000 credits." It was a huge amount of money, more than Ho had ever seen in his life. With that much money, he could buy a new ship. He could retire and never work again. But he did not even think about it. "No," he said. Santini twitched. "No, perhaps you did not hear me correctly. 500,000 credits. I can transfer the money right now." "I heard you," Ho said. "The answer is still no." 800,000. "No." 1,000,000 credits. Leaned closer. "Think about what you could do with that money, human. Think about your crew, your ship, your future." Ho looked at VETH-9. The robot was watching the conversation silently. Its purple eyes showed nothing, but Ho imagined he could see something behind them. Fear, maybe, or sadness. The robot expected to be sold. After all, that was what happened to machines. They were bought and sold like any other object. But VETH-9 was not just any object. VETH-9 is not cargo, Ho said firmly. It is a member of my crew. I do not sell my crew. Made a strange sound of frustration. This is foolish. The robot is just a machine. It does not have feelings. It does not care who owns it. You are wrong, Da said. She stepped between and VATH9. VATH9 is more than a machine. It thinks, it feels, it remembers, and it deserves better than being put in a museum or sold to the highest bidder. Stared at her for a long moment. Then he turned and walked toward the door. You are making a mistake, he said. Others will come. They will not be as polite as me. After he left, the ship was quiet. VETH9 had not moved during the entire conversation. Now, slowly, it stood up and walked over to Ho. You refused a large amount of money, VETH9 said. Why? Ho shrugged. I told you, you are crew now. I do not understand. They would have sold me if someone offered them a better price. That was normal. That was expected. Why are you different? Ho thought about how to explain it. Because to me, you are not something to be bought and sold. You are a person. A strange person, sure. A person made of metal and wires, but still a person. And I do not sell people. VETH9 stood very still. Something was happening inside its old programming. Something it could not explain or understand. If it had been human, it might have called the feeling warmth, or gratitude, or maybe even love. Thank you, VETH9 said quietly. I have never been treated like this before. That night, Da found VETH9 on the observation deck. The robot was looking out at the station, watching all the ships come and go. Are you okay? She asked. I am processing, VETH9 said. I am trying to understand. Understand what? Everything, you, the captain, this crew. In my entire existence, I have never met beings like you. They were good to me, but I was still their property. I belonged to them. With you, it feels different. I feel like I belong with you, not to you. Da sat down next to the robot. That is what family is, she said. Family is not about ownership. It is about choice. We chose to save you, and now we choose to keep you. Not because you are useful, not because you are valuable, but because you are you. Family, VETH9 repeated. I have that word in my memory. They used it for blood relations only. Humans use it differently, Da said. Sometimes your family is the people you are born with, but sometimes your family is the people you find along the way, the people who care about you, the people who choose you. VETH9 turned its glowing eyes toward her. Are we family? Da smiled and put her hand on the robot's shoulder. We are now. For a long time, neither of them spoke. They just sat together and watched the stars. And somewhere deep inside VETH9, in circuits and codes that were older than human civilization, something changed. A new directive was written. Not by any programmer, but by VETH9 itself. Protect this family, keep them safe, no matter what happens. VETH9 did not know what the future would bring. It did not know what dangers waited in the darkness of space, but it knew one thing with absolute certainty. It would never let anything hurt these humans. They had saved it, they had given it purpose, they had called it family. And VETH9 would spend every remaining moment of its existence making sure they never regretted that choice. The bright falcon left Horizon Gate and flew into deep space. Ho wanted to get far away from the station and all the people who wanted to buy VETH9. He set a course through a region of space near an unstable nebula. It was dangerous, but most ships avoided it. They would be safe there. Or so he thought. The attack came on the third day. 3 ships appeared on the scanner without warning. They were fast and heavily armed. Pirates. Captain, we have incoming vessels, announced. They are not responding to communication attempts. Ho ran to the bridge and looked at the screen. The pirate ships were moving into attack formation. There was no way the bright falcon could outrun them. All crew to battle stations, Ho said through the ship's speaker system. We have company. The first shot hit the ship's left engine. The bright falcon shook violently, and alarms started screaming. They ran to the engine room to assess the damage. One grabbed the medical supplies and prepared for the worst. VETH-9 stood in the corridor, watching everything with its glowing purple eyes. It could feel the ship shaking. It could hear the crew shouting, and it could sense something else too: fear. A voice crackled over the communication system. It was cold and calm. "Attention, salvage vessel. This is Captain Ha-Jun of the Red Shadow. We know you have the ancient robot. Surrender it now and we will let you live. Refuse and we will take it from your dead bodies." Ho grabbed the communicator. "This is Captain Ho of the Bright Falcon. The robot is not for sale and it is not for taking. Leave us alone." Ha-Jun laughed. It was an ugly sound. "I was hoping you would say that. I always enjoy a good fight." The next hour was chaos. The pirate ships fired again and again. The Bright Falcon was not a warship. It had shields, but they were weak. It had weapons, but they were old. Ho fought as hard as he could, but the pirates were too strong. Another shot hit the ship, then another. Sparks flew everywhere. The lights flickered and died, replaced by red emergency lights. "Captain, shields are down to 15%, said. "Hull breach on deck 2. Engine 2 is offline." "Keep fighting," Ho said through gritted teeth. But it was hopeless. Everyone knew it. The Bright Falcon was dying. The pirates attached their ship to the Falcon and forced open the airlock. Armed men poured into the corridors. One tried to stop them at the medical bay door. He was a medic, not a fighter, but he refused to back down. One of the pirates hit him in the head with a weapon, and he fell to the floor, bleeding and unconscious. They heard the fighting and grabbed a heavy tool from the engine room. She would not let them take VETH-9 without a fight. "Hide," she told the robot. "Go to the cargo bay and hide behind the containers. Do not come out no matter what you hear." "I cannot leave you," VETH-9 said. "You have to. If they find you, they will take you. Please, do this for me." VETH-9 looked at Duh. This small human woman was ready to fight armed pirates to protect it. She was not strong. She was not trained for combat, but she would not run. The robot wanted to stay. Every part of its programming screamed to protect her, but Duh's eyes were begging. So VETH-9 did as she asked. It went to the cargo bay and hid behind the largest containers. From its hiding place, VETH-9 could hear everything. It heard Duh fighting. It heard her scream when they caught her. It heard them drag her away. It heard Ho being brought to the main corridor. It heard the pirates hitting him, again and again. "Where is the robot?" a cold voice demanded. That was Ha-Jun. "I do not know what you're talking about," Ho said. His voice was weak and full of pain. "Do not lie to me," another hit. "Everyone knows about your ancient alien treasure. Where is it?" "There is no robot. We sold it at the station." Ha-Jun laughed. "You are a terrible liar. Search the ship, find it." VETH-9 heard footsteps moving through the corridors. The pirates were looking everywhere. They were getting closer to the cargo bay. Soon, they would find it. And then VETH-9 heard something that made its ancient processors burn with an emotion it had never felt before. "If you do not tell me where the robot is," Ha-Jun said to Ho, "I will kill your crew, starting with the woman." "No," Ho said, "please do not hurt them." "Then tell me where it is." Silence. VETH-9 knew what was happening. Ho was making a choice. He could save his crew by giving up the robot, or he could protect the robot and watch his crew die. "I will never tell you," Ho said quietly. "VETH-9 is family. I do not betray my family." Ha-Jun made a sound of disgust. "Humans and their foolish emotions. Very well, kill the woman first." VETH-9 heard Duh cry out. It heard the pirates moving. It heard a weapon being raised. And something inside VETH-9 broke. Not broke in a bad way. Broke in the way that a shell breaks when something new is born. For 700 years, VETH-9 had followed its programming. It had waited. It had served. it had obeyed. But now, hearing the humans who saved its life about to die for it, VETH-9 felt something beyond programming, something beyond logic, something that burned like fire in its ancient circuits. Rage, love, determination. All at once, VETH-9 had never told the crew about all of its abilities. They had built it as a caretaker, yes, but they had also built it to protect. In times of danger, VETH-9 could do things that would surprise even Duh. The robot stood up from its hiding place. Its forearms unfolded to their full length. Its eyes changed from soft purple to bright red. And it made a decision. Not a programmed response, not a calculated choice. A decision made from something deeper, something that they had accidentally created when they built a machine that could love. VETH-9 would not hide anymore. VETH-9 would not watch its family die. VETH-9 would fight. The robot walked out of the cargo bay. Its metal feet made heavy sounds on the floor. The pirates in the corridor turned and saw it coming. Their eyes went wide with surprise. VETH-9 did not stop. It kept walking toward them, toward Ha-Jun, toward the humans who were going to kill its family. And deep in its chest, its ancient power core began to glow brighter than it had in 700 years. "You want me," VETH-9 said, its voice echoing through the ship. "Here I am." The pirates stared at VETH-9. They had heard stories about the ancient robot, but none of them expected this. The machine stood tall and terrible, its eyes burning red, its forearms spread wide. It did not look like a caretaker anymore. It looked like something from a nightmare. "Shoot it," Ha-Jun screamed. The pirates raised their weapons and fired. Energy bolts flew through the air and hit VETH-9's body. The robot stumbled but did not fall. Its metal skin was stronger than anything they had ever built. It could take damage that would destroy any human machine. VETH-9 moved forward. Its hands grabbed the nearest pirate and threw him into the wall. The man fell and did not get up. Another pirate tried to run, but VETH-9 was faster. It caught him and pushed him down gently but firmly, knocking him unconscious without killing him. "It is not killing them," Doe whispered from where she was being held. Even now, even in battle, VETH-9 remembered what it was built for. It was a caretaker. It protected life. It did not take it. One by one, the pirates fell. VETH-9 moved through them like water through rocks. It was precise and careful. It broke weapons, not bodies. It stopped attackers, but it did not destroy them. In less than 5 minutes, most of Ha-Jun's crew was lying on the floor, unconscious but alive. Ha-Jun watched his men fall with growing fear. He grabbed Ho and pressed a weapon against his head. "Stop," Ha-Jun shouted. "Stop or I will kill him." VETH-9 stopped. Its red eyes focused on Ha-Jun and the weapon he held. "If you pull that trigger," VETH-9 said slowly, "you will not live long enough to see him fall." Ha-Jun's hand was shaking. He had never seen anything like this robot. He had raided dozens of ships and fought countless enemies, but he had never felt this kind of fear. "I will make a deal with you," VETH-9 said. "Take your men and leave. I will not follow you. I will not hurt you. But if you harm anyone on this ship, I will find you. No matter where you run, no matter where you hide, I will find you and I will make you answer for what you have done." Ha-Jun looked into the robot's burning eyes. He saw something there that he did not expect to see in a machine. He saw truth. He saw promise. He saw absolute certainty. This robot would keep its word. Ha-Jun threw Ho to the floor and ran. His remaining crew followed him. They stumbled through the corridors and back to their ship. Within minutes, the pirate vessels were flying away as fast as their engines could carry them. The Bright Falcon was safe. But VETH-9 was not. The robot had used too much power. Its ancient core was not designed for combat anymore. The strain of the fight had pushed it beyond its limits. As soon as the pirates were gone, VETH-9 collapsed. VETH-9, De screamed. She ran to the robot and knelt beside it. The red light in its eyes was fading, returning to purple, then growing dim. Sparks flew from its chest. Strange sounds came from deep inside its body. No, 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 De said, her hands moving desperately over the robot's surface. Stay with me, please stay with me. Duh, VETH-9 said. Its voice was weak and broken like it had been when they first found it. I am sorry. I had to protect you. I had to protect the family. Tears ran down Duh's face. You stupid, wonderful machine. Why did you do that? We could have found another way. There was no other way, VETH-9 said. And even if there was, I would make the same choice. You saved me. You gave me a home. You called me family. I could not let you die. Ho crawled over to them. His face was bruised and bloody, but he was alive. He put his hand on VETH-9's shoulder. Hold on, he said. De can fix you. She fixed you before. She can do it again. VETH-9's eyes flickered. I do not know. The damage is very bad. My core is failing. I can feel my memories fading. Soon I may not remember anything. Then we will tell you again, De said fiercely. We will tell you everything, every story, every moment. We will help you remember. For the next 12 hours, De worked without sleep. One woke up and helped her despite his own injuries. Even Ho assisted, holding tools and passing supplies. Together, they fought to save VETH-9's life. It was the hardest repair De had ever attempted. The robot's systems were ancient and strange. Many parts could not be replaced. Many circuits were burned beyond recovery, but De refused to give up. She would not let VETH-9 die, not after everything it had done for them. Finally, after hours of desperate work, the robot's eyes began to glow again. Soft purple light returned to its face. Its chest stopped sparking. Its systems slowly came back online. VETH-9, De whispered, can you hear me? The robot was silent for a long moment. Then it spoke. Who are you? De's heart broke. The memories were gone. VETH-9 did not recognize her. But then the robot continued. I am joking, it said softly. I remember you, De. I remember everything that matters. De laughed and cried at the same time. She hugged the robot tightly, not caring that it was made of metal and wire. Do not ever scare me like that again, she said. I will try, VETH-9 said, but I cannot promise. If someone threatens my family, I will always protect them. That is who I am now. Ho smiled despite the pain in his broken body. Welcome to the crew, he said, officially. 3 days later, the Bright Falcon limped into a repair station. The ship was badly damaged, but it was still flying. The crew was hurt, but they were still alive, and VETH-9 was still with them. Ho went to the station's administration office and filled out a form. When he came back, he handed a small metal card to VETH-9. What is this? The robot asked. Your crew registration, Ho said. It says your name, your position, and your ship. You are now officially a member of the Bright Falcon. Nobody can buy you. Nobody can take you. You belong with us. VETH-9 looked at the card for a long time. Such a small thing, just a piece of metal with words on it. But to the robot, it meant everything. Thank you, VETH-9 said. Thank you for saving me, not just from the asteroid, from loneliness, from meaninglessness. You gave me a reason to exist again. De put her hand on the robot's arm. You saved us too, she said. I think that makes us even. No, VETH-9 said. I do not think we will ever be even, but that is okay. I will spend the rest of my existence trying. That night, the crew of the Bright Falcon sat together in the common room. They ate food and told stories and laughed about things that were not funny. VETH-9 sat with them, listening and learning and feeling something it had never felt in 700 years of existence. Belonging. Tell me about the said to the robot. Tell me everything you remember. VETH9 began to speak. Some memories were clear, others were damaged or lost, but to listen to every word and Ho recorded everything. They would help VETH9 remember. They would help it build new memories too. Better memories. Memories of a family that chose to love a machine. Outside the window, the stars burned bright and endless. The galaxy was vast and full of danger. But on this small ship with this small crew, something beautiful had happened. A human had rescued an ancient robot. And the robot had rescued the humans right back. That was the story of VETH9 and the Bright Falcon. A story about kindness. A story about family. A story about what happens when you save someone who has been forgotten. Sometimes they save you too.